you're never always gonna feel in the mood to do something.
My pain is as strong as my pride. It's you that I trust time and time again. How can I repay the cost, beloved friend?
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Life Things. I'm here in this moment because I was feeling kind of bad about not being consistent about making these videos that I was planning on making. And one of my rules for myself when I first started this was don't do it if it doesn't feel good or authentic. And so I was like, well, am I just making up excuses because I know that it'll be work to like edit and stuff, or do I genuinely not want to do this? And I thought I would give it a try because I believe in trying and working hard before I quit if it's something that is like a creative project, and I want to be more consistent with staying dedicated to my creativity and doing the things that the person that I want to be does. So I thought I would go easy on myself today and talk about something that I feel like I could talk about for hours, which is the Enneagram. And today is going to be just a little bit of a ramble about the Enneagram. It's one of the things that I am most passionate about in my life and in terms of personal growth, and I think sort of certain parts of my career that I want to explore in the future. So yeah, I guess we'll just dive right in, as the YouTubers say. So if you don't know what the Enneagram is, I'll give you just like a tiny little blurb, but I'm not gonna go and like explain the entire thing because that's not what this video is about. But the Enneagram is a personality typing system that has 9 different types. And a lot of people ask, like, is it kind of like Myers-Briggs or something like that? And it really isn't. For me, it's very, very different than Myers-Briggs. It is so much more in depth, and all of the types have different relationships to each other, like with each other, in a really interesting way. And it's sort of a shadow system, as some people call it, which means that it kind of focuses on like the boxes that you put yourself into, which can come up as like the more negative traits of your personality, or like the more challenging things about your personality and who you are. But it shows you how you put yourself in a box and then how to get out of that box. And it's really incredible. So yeah, there's tons and tons of information on the internet about it if you are wanting to dive deeper. But I'm here to talk about my experience with the Enneagram and why I love it so much. And to just kind of like share all about how it's impacted me and my life. So where do I even start? One of the biggest things, I'll just start with this. One of the biggest things that the Enneagram has taught me is a difficult truth. Like the Enneagram will like kind of show you like some of the most difficult truths about the way that you sabotage yourself. And it can be really tough. So like one of the ways that I sabotage myself is I get so caught up in my feelings and moodiness, and like feeling like I need to feel in the mood, I need to feel prepared and in the mood to do what I need to do. And only once I feel in the mood to do it, or once I feel 100%, then I can do the thing. And I think a lot of people probably also do this, but where it gets kind of dangerous in terms of like goals and making things happen and like working toward just moving forward in your life and achieving whatever you want to achieve, is that you're never always gonna feel in the mood to do something. And there's this quote that I really love. I don't remember, I think it was maybe Florence Given who introduced it to my like brain, but it's something like, you can't be in the mood to dance. You dance, and then dancing gets you in the mood to dance. So that has been life-changing for me, and also like a really hard hurdle, because in like I am intuitively always feeling like, okay, I have this task to do, but only once I feel fully awake, feel totally emotionally like even, once I've, once I feel in the mood to do the thing, then I'll do it. And then I end up not doing the thing because throughout the day my mood is like this, kind of, like a lot of human beings, like my mood changes sometimes from minute to minute. And so that's like been kind of a hard truth, but it's helped me so much in staying consistent with the things in my life that I want to make happen. And that creates so much more confidence for myself, because then I can look at myself and be like, oh, like I've stayed consistent with these things that I want. I've stayed consistent in staying in touch with these people. I'm stayed consistent with taking care of myself. I've stayed consistent with, being on top of my schoolwork and like whatever the thing is. And so it's very rewarding to have finally realized that I do that. And the Enneagram has been a huge help for that. And also, I guess the second thing that's really impacted me a lot in a super positive way is when I am stuck in a mood, it can be really intense. Side note, I'm an Enneagram 4, and the sin of the Enneagram 4 is how caught up in their feelings they can get. And I can spiral really fast, and it can be really hard to get out of it. But I realized, and I learned through learning about my Enneagram type, that the best way to get out of a spiral or a bad mood is to do something productive, which is the exact opposite of what I feel like doing when I'm in those moods or those spirals. When I'm like in that like really dark place, like all I feel like doing is like making sad music about it, or journaling about it, or like doing things that kind of dig me deeper into that, because I'm like in a place of trying to understand myself, understand why I feel that way, and trying to work it out in my head. But in actuality, the thing that helps me resolve that situation quicker, or to feel better quicker, is to do my laundry, do my homework, like do chores, do like go to the gym, like do the things that are on my to-do list that are just really mundane life things that aren't really related to any specific emotion or art or anything like that. And that is a huge help. And yeah, so like one of the other things that I love about the Enneagram is that it talks about how your greatest strength and your greatest gift in life is also your greatest weakness and struggle. And I feel like that's so true for me. Yeah, it's like creating balance because it's two sides of the same coin. With the Enneagram 4, which is my type, our greatest strength and gift is our emotions and our creativity and our depth. Like that's what we bring to the world, is like art and depth and deep like exploration of the human experience and of like the world and like our feelings, and it can bring so much beauty to the world when it's done and actually lived out, and like these creative things are actually brought into the world. But the shadow side of that is, like as I was saying, getting too caught up in emotions and not being able to function because you're feeling so sad and like shameful or upset that you couldn't drive to work. You simply couldn't, like that kind of thing. So it's not about, like for the Enneagram 4, it's not about completely like ignoring your emotions by being productive or anything like that, but it's about recognizing when it's gone too far and you've been in that place for too long. So I think it's kind of always a constant balancing act, but for me personally, that's been a huge help. Like, yeah, I can't imagine like where I would be right now if I didn't know that about myself. If I hadn't like started researching the Enneagram like a few years ago. So yeah, like the Enneagram is incredible. Like please please dive into it if you're wanting to understand yourself better, and like it will be confronting. Like it's hard sometimes reading about your type and being like, ouch, because the shadow sides of your type are going to hit you really deeply, because it's like, you already know these things about yourself. It's just like pointing at it and like shining a light on that and being like, yeah, you do this thing and it's really messed up and it's really dysfunctional, or just nonsensical, really. But it really helps in the end. It really helps, not in the end, because there's not any end to like whatever, anything, but like it will help. I mean, other things that I just love about the Enneagram, it is used a lot in professional settings, which I think is really cool. I've used it in my workplace with my team, and we understand each other so much better because we know like the motivations and like what matters to everyone so much more. The Enneagram talks about core motivation and core fear. And when you know those two things about a human being, it gives you so much information, because it shows you the lens through which that person views literally everything in their life. And so that's pretty incredible. An example is that for me, like, let's see if I can remember the specific core motivations and fears of the Enneagram 4. The core fear is being insignificant, having no significance and no meaning in the world, and just being basic, I guess. No deep meaning to anything or anyone. And the core motivation is to have meaning, is to create meaning in your life, and to have, to create beauty in your life. So that's kind of the lens that I view everything in my life through a lot of the time. And sometimes those aren't functional lenses to view things through, especially if I'm, if it's just something like, if you're like doing your taxes or something, like that's not going to be the most helpful lens to be viewing it through. So that's why it's so important to be aware that, yeah, that's usually like how you view the world, through whatever lens your type is. And it's not about judging yourself about that. I try not to harshly judge myself for having such a kind of ethereal and artistic and creative lens sometimes. I just try to notice it and then realize where like I might need to shift that in order for things to go more smoothly. Other things that I love about the Enneagram, there are 3 centers, which are thinking, feeling, and doing. So there are Enneagram types that predominantly live in the thinking center, and that also has a huge impact on how they view the world. So the thinkers view things pretty like analytically, pretty like quantitative people, and they're really good at using their mind to work out problems. They tend to live in their heads a little bit more than the other types. And then there's the feeling center, the heart center. That's me. Very like, as I was saying, very much in the world of feelings and making decisions based on how I feel about something, rather than maybe thinking about like the options of like pros and cons or something like that. And then there's the doing center, like the gut instinct center. I won't get into that one because I honestly, that's the one that I don't understand as well as I understand the other 2, because it's the one that I'm lacking in. So that there's these 3 centers, and each Enneagram type has a predominant and then a secondary center of orientation, and then they have their third, which is the one that is lacking the most in their constitution or their like orientation to life. Whoa, my hair is different and I'm wearing a different outfit. A lot of things happened, and I had to turn the video off. But I'm a great example of someone who is lacking in the gut instinct area of the Enneagram. And so, yeah, that gives you kind of an idea of another really cool thing about the Enneagram that I just geek out on and love so much. Like, the things that I find that I geek out on the most are the things that kind of just like blow my mind, that impact my life in really profound ways. And the Enneagram is one of those. It's truly like reshaped how I view my own behavior, which is not a little thing. It's not a little thing. And I just think it's really, really cool. And I want more people to know about it because it has been so helpful for me in creating more compassion for myself, and also growing and just getting out of like some ruts, mentally and emotionally. And I'm just super grateful for it existing. And so, yeah, little side note, like if you're wanting to look more into the Enneagram or figure out what your Enneagram type is, there's a ton of quizzes online. Make sure that you get one that's free, that won't be like, oh, actually you have to spend $5. The Truity quiz is a really good one that I usually recommend to like my friends and that kind of thing. It's an extensive quiz, but that will give you more accurate results. And also it's really easy for you to like, for people to get mistyped. because certain types can look like other types, and what really shows you whether it's your type or not is whether you really truly resonate with the core motivation and core desire. And that will really give away whether that's your type or not. But yeah, I hope that this was fun to listen to. I had a great time just rambling about one of my favorite things ever. So maybe I'll make more little videos on the Enneagram at some point, because I genuinely just love talking about it and I think it's really cool. So that's it for today, but I will see you next time. Bye!